All right, so now we're going to insert our pivot table. So you also notice when you click a cell in this new table that up on the table tools of the ribbon, there's also a query tab that's next to the design tab. This is your typical table tools design ribbon. And then we have a query ribbon that shows some features of what you could do with this particular table here. So I just wanted to make you aware of that. And then we want to insert a table. So you could do that from this design ribbon, summarize with pivot table, or insert pivot table here. So we're going to create a new pivot table based on our table that came out of Power Query. And then, so now we're first going to create that trend, so just to show the annual snowfall, the annual snowfall trend basically here. So with that one, I can right click, show Pivot Pal, and we can use Pivot Pal for this. Let me get it in the window. So we want to take our years and put that in rows, and then we put snowfall inches in the values area, and that'll sum up the snowfall. And if we don't necessarily need that extra decimal there, we can quickly reformat it to just show it like that. Okay, and now I want to add a chart, so I'm just going to go to the Analyze tab, Pivot Charts. We'll do a line chart here and click OK. And so now we can basically very quickly see our annual snowfall over the years, and we could go and reformat this, make it look a little nicer. But as you can see, our annual snowfall is kind of all over the place. We have some really big years and then obviously some really bad years like what we're experiencing this year. Of course, we're not all the way through the end of the year yet. It's just the end of February now, so we have a chance, but it's not looking good. But we'll create some more charts to show how bad it is. Okay, so I'm going to just quickly rename this one to annual snowfall trend, so we know what that tab's all about. And now I want to see a chart that shows the monthly snowfall with this year compared to the average of the last year. So I want to show you how to create that one, because I really like this chart. And this was my original question, and got me thinking about creating this whole dashboard and everything and analyzing this. So I'm going to go back to our Power Query table here, and I'm going to add a new column. And this column is going to be our, we're going to call this selected year. That's it. And then I'm going to put the current year, which is going to be 2014. I'm going to put that here in the just cell F4, so we could do a comparison. So I'm going to put a formula in this cell, and this is we're going to use an if statement. So we're going to say if the year in the current row that we're in, that's what this is saying, this at symbol saying at this year basically is equal to 2014. I want to anchor 2014. Then we're going to put 2014 in that cell, so I'll click F1 again. And then if not, we'll say other, or we'll say all other. So that'll be all other years that are not 2014. Close parentheses and then hit enter. And with a table, obviously all the formulas are automatically copied down. So basically this is going to allow us to group up all the other years that are not 2014. So if we scroll down to the bottom of this table now, we should see that our 2014-2015 season, which is the one we're currently in, is showing us 2014, and all the rest of the years are just say all other. So let me show you how this works now. So I'll just make a duplicate copy of my annual snowfall tab, and we'll just get rid of this chart for now, and we'll also clear out these. Well, I'll show you how to use Pivot Pal for this. With Pivot Pal, you can just select both and hit this X right here, and that'll clear out the pivot table. So what we want to do is we want to show by month. So I'm going to add month to the rows, and that'll give us, will show us by month. Oh, I also need to it looks like I need to refresh this. Yeah, so if I refresh this, we'll see the selected year pop up here, which is our new field in our table. Selected year I want on columns like that, and then snowfall in inches I want in my values area. And again, we'll just quickly reformat that to look like that. So what this is telling us, oh, and this is sum. We actually want this to be average instead of sum. So I can just change it right here in the drop down. So we want average annual snowfall in inches. So basically this is allowing us to compare 2014 to the average of all the other years in our data set from 1969 all the way up to the present. So what that shows us, well, let's add a chart to see what it really tells us. So I'm going to go to Analyze tab, Pivot Chart, and then we'll do a column chart here, and we'll click OK. So let me get rid of these field buttons real quick. The other thing I want to do is, because of our ski season really starts in October or, well, November really, but I'm going to move October up to the top. Oh, and also this pre-October, we're going to move up to the top here. So kind of get these in order of how the ski season happens. So I'm also want to just quickly reformat this a little bit. I'm going to make this gap a little smaller so our bars are a little wider like that. And now we can see, we can kind of compare 2014 is our blue year here, and then the average of all other years is the orange bar. So we can see now what happened this year. December was, on average a little below average. November was definitely, a little below average. And then January, I don't know what happened in January, but the snow machine turned off because we didn't receive any snow here. My wife and I jokingly renamed it Tanuary because the most important thing in January here was sunscreen when you're going out of the house instead of a coat. So anyways, that's I think that was a big kicker for our snowpack this year was January. And then obviously the month of February, we're just a few days from the end of February. So February is not looking too good either for our snowpack here in terms of, compared to on average of all the other years. So, we're praying that March and April will bring us some snow, but it just hasn't been a good year. And that happens with those of you that know that ski or snowboard, that you get some really, really good years and some really bad ones. So anyways, I'll stop talking about that. But the other cool thing you can do with this table now, or this chart, is if we go back to my data table, we have 2014 here. What if we want to compare some other years? So you can Control X or cut 2014 out of here. I'm going to put it on this tab right here. So I'm going to just paste it right there with Control V. So now 2014 is here. So this is used as our comparison year. If we entered a different year in here, like if I go back to my trend, I know that 2010 was a really good year. That was a great year. 669 total inches of snowfall. Oops, let me get that out of the way. So we could change this now to 2010. I'll change this value to 2010. That's going to update all of those formulas in the chart in the table to compare to 2010 instead of 2014. And now all we have to do is refresh our pivot table, and I'll use the keyboard shortcut Alt F5 to do that. That'll refresh our pivot table and show us 2010 versus all the average of all the other years. And you could see now 2010's the orange bars, and they really just almost every month, except for again January was a little low, but December was a huge month, and same with March. So we're hoping this year we get a year like 2010 for March because that was some record years there and some great skiing that year.